It's late. The house is quiet. And then, out of nowhere, a creak. Nobody's there. You know nobody's there. And yet, for one full second, your entire body goes on alert like something absolutely is. That feeling isn't new. Humans have been doing that exact thing for over 100,000 years. Here's the reframe. Belief in ghosts, spirits, something continuing on after death, isn't some spooky campfire invention. It might be one of the oldest ideas humans have ever had. There's no single moment we can point to and go, there, that's when it started. Ghosts didn't leave a receipt. But archaeologists have found something almost as good. Deliberate burials. Bodies laid out carefully, sometimes covered in red ochre, sometimes buried with tools, jewelry, or food beside them. At a site called Qafzeh Cave in Israel, burials like this go back roughly 100,000 years. And here's the part that actually matters. You don't bury someone with tools and food unless you think, on some level, they're going to need them. Nobody packs a lunch for a corpse just for fun. That's not decoration. That's a plan for where they think that person is going next. Archaeologist Paul Pettitt has spent years studying exactly this, ancient burial behavior across early humans and Neanderthals. His research suggests these burials weren't just about disposing of a body. They look like the earliest physical evidence we have that humans believed a person doesn't just stop existing the moment they die. And the grave goods varied a lot depending on who was doing the burying. Some sites include simple stone tools, presumably so the person could keep working wherever they were headed. Others include jewelry, shell beads, animal teeth, things with no practical survival use at all, purely decorative. Which suggests whoever buried them wasn't just thinking, here's some gear for the afterlife. They were thinking, here's something nice, something that mattered to them, packed with actual care. Somewhere, 100,000 years ago, someone buried a loved one with their favorite necklace, and that is somehow more emotionally devastating than anything a modern greeting card has ever managed to say. And it wasn't only us. Neanderthals did this too. At sites like Shanidar Cave and more recently Tinshemet Cave, researchers have found Neanderthal burials with the same careful positioning, the same use of ochre. Which means our closest evolutionary cousins may have also believed in something after death. And somehow we're the ones who ended up with a whole streaming genre about it, and they didn't even get a Wikipedia page. And this wasn't a one-time, one-place thing either. Basically every human culture that anthropologists have ever studied, separated by oceans, mountains, thousands of years, with zero contact with each other, independently landed on some version of the same idea. Something continues. Something lingers. Something can be angry with you if you forget to visit the grave. Entirely different continents, entirely different languages, entirely different everything, and somehow humanity kept arriving at the exact same conclusion over and over again, like it was written into the operating system from the start. Quick pause, by the way. If you're enjoying this one, hit subscribe, like the video, and share it with someone who needs a good, mildly unsettling fact today. We're making a lot more of these. Okay, back to it. So why would humans, this early, this consistently, land on the idea that death isn't really the end? There's a theory from cognitive scientist Justin Barrett that might explain it, and it's not really about death at all. It's about how your brain handles uncertainty. Barrett calls it the hyperactive agency detection device, which sounds like something from a spy movie, but is actually just your brain's built-in tendency to assume something with a mind is behind any unclear sound or movement. A rustle in the grass, a creak in the house. Your brain's first guess isn't wind, it's someone. And here's why that trait stuck around. Imagine two early humans hearing a rustle in the bushes. One assumes it's nothing, keeps walking, and is occasionally, tragically, wrong. The other assumes it might be a predator every single time, flinches a lot, and occasionally looks a little paranoid. But only one of those two survives enough false alarms to pass on their genes. Being a little paranoid was, historically, a great career move. So your brain didn't evolve to be accurate. It evolved to be cautious. Assuming there's a presence, even when there isn't one, cost early humans almost nothing. Assuming there's nothing when something was actually there could cost them everything. which means the exact same wiring that once helped someone survive a genuinely dangerous night in the wild is the same wiring that makes you glance at a dark hallway today and think, was that something? And here's a twist that's honestly kind of wild. Sometimes that spooky feeling isn't even just in your head. In the 1990s, an engineer named Vic Tandy was working late in a lab that everyone swore was haunted. Cold spots, a creeping sense of dread. One colleague even reported seeing a gray shape out of the corner of her eye. Tandy eventually traced it to a fan, quietly generating a sound wave at 19 hertz, so low that human ears can't consciously hear it, but apparently just the right frequency to make your eyeballs vibrate slightly and your body feel unexplainably uneasy. He nicknamed it the fear frequency. Turn off the fan and the haunting stopped completely, which means some hauntings might genuinely be old pipes, old buildings, and old fans quietly playing a note you can't hear but can somehow feel. Combine that jumpy, always-on alert system with a species that already, 100,000 years ago, was burying its dead like they were headed somewhere, and you've basically got the full recipe for ghosts. Not a campfire story, not a horror movie invention, just old software running on modern hardware, occasionally misfiring in your hallway at 2 a.m. So the next time you hear a creak in an empty house and your whole body goes on alert for absolutely no reason, you're not imagining things, and you're definitely not being irrational. You're running a survival instinct that's older than agriculture, older than writing, older than pretty much everything except the fear itself. Somewhere, 100,000 years ago, someone heard a noise in the dark and decided to take it seriously. And honestly, so far, that instinct hasn't let humanity down yet. If you like this one, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a slightly spooky fun fact today. We're making more of these, and each one's getting better. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.